What is something everyone hyped up that ended up sucking? Growing up, Disney Star Wars. He never even said it's Morbin time. Frowning face. Cyberpunk. You are probably better off asking what got hyped and actually lived up to expectations. Game of Thrones, Avengers Infinity War, Spore, those stupid ass Google glasses. Also 3D TV. Genuinely a significant portion of Netflix adaptations and Amazon adaptations genuinely scared about the new Lord of the Rings project. Sex. In and out. This Samoan restaurant. I still bought something cause I gotta support my community. Elden Ring seriously their worst game yet ignoring everything before a day. Arcane. So far. First day of school. Blowjobs. Robot vacuums. What hobby will drain your bank account faster than a gambling addiction? Collecting and restoring cars. Warhammer 40k. Boating. Aviation enthusiast. As late 90s me Magic the Gathering. TCGs. Practically as gambling to get anything really good. Horses. Hands down the worst money pit. Scuba diving. Making cosplay clothing in general. Fabric and other materials are not cheap. A good sewing machine costs a lot too. Considering you'll need different thread, will need to restock on thread for each project. Yeah, that will seriously blow your wallet. Are Wall Street bets, but if you want some real, try seeing what it takes to host a polo team. I know a guy. Mechanical keyboards. The stock market. Lost about $15,000 today when I'm saving for retirement, so that really hurt. What food do you swear people only pretend to like? The meals I prepare for them. Lutefisk. Fondant on like wedding cakes. Gold leaf, need I say more? Am dying inside. After scrolling through this thread, I'm starting to think there is something wrong with me because people are hating on all my favorites. Just waiting now for someone to say licorice. Circus peanuts. There's no way people are actually out there enjoying those things, but enough people pretend to keep them in business. I like a lot of stuff people are shitting on here, but I am in my 30s, so I think tastes change as you get older. Love me some cheese that smells of feet, anchovies on pizza and coffee strong enough that I see through time. I used to go crazy for gummies, especially the sour ones. Now I find sweet things a bit, meh, I can take or leave it. But you'll have to prize a stinky cheese board out of my cold dead hands. What is it called when you hear or learn something and it shows up in your life more often like an old movie or a term phrase? Blue car syndrome. It has a few names. The Baader-Meinhof phenomenon is the most recognized name I believe, but it also goes by the recency bias, or the frequency illusion, or blue car syndrome as mentioned by Europafunk. You can read more about it here as well. What is something that is becoming increasingly harmful to the younger generations? Social media in general. In America? The dissension. Everyone else isn't your enemy or trying to harm you. The amount of screen time kids have when their eyes and brains are just developing. Porn. The commodification of their attention by apps and advertisers. The decline of religion and traditional community-building institutions. Reddit. Involvement in politics. Older generations. Apps like TikTok. Internet. Plastic. The truth. Older generations. Amazon today to a generation of need it now. I mean, probably global warming. Not harmful directly I suppose, but it'll still be a problem. Their own minds. Global warming. The LGBTQIA. What is the phrase you agree with most about marriage? To paraphrase, if you both care about the other's happiness at least as much as your own, you're golden. Marriage isn't a 50-50 proposition. It takes both of you giving 100. Father Kevin L., Navy chaplain. My sister told me once that marriage will ebb and flow. It's just about the only good advice she's ever given me. When I was younger and we'd hit a rough patch or even just a lull, I'd remember that, and it always helped me through more than any other advice I've been given. It really can apply to almost all relationships. Us versus the problem, not you versus me. Whenever you are having conflict or in disagreement in your marriage, you're always supposed to tackle the problem head-on with your spouse and not be against your spouse. That was such a huge lesson for me. What is an impossible question to answer? When did you first learn your name, and how old were you? Why? When asked by a 4-yo, any response will be met with why? Where was Gondor when the Westfold fell? How long is any specific coastline? Where do you see yourself in X years? I fucking hate that question, especially when you've reached your goals and haven't really made any solid plans yet. Like, fuck off with that question. I'm confused, generally when someone asks me what? I just repeat myself once or twice and they always seem to get it. How do you kindly tell someone their breath stinks? The one that isn't asked. If I punch myself in the face, and it hurts, does that mean I'm strong or weak? Does the set of all sets which are not members of itself contain itself as an element? What movie bombed at the box office but flourished on home release and is now a classic? Office Space. Bombed at the box office but replays on TV turned it into a classic. Big Trouble in Little China and most cult hits. John Carpenter's The Thing. Idiocracy. Tremors. Blade Runner 1982. The Boondock Saints. Donnie Darko. Galaxy Quest. Not quite a bomb at the box office, but pretty close. The Wizard of Oz lost money in its initial release. It didn't break even until re-releases in the 50s. Once it started appearing on TV in the 50s, it came to be regarded as a classic. Wizard of Oz. The Rocky Horror Picture Show originally completely bombed but then kept going with midnight shows and has lasted since in theaters. What movie blew your mind when you finished it? I remember walking out of the cinema thinking that was a waste of an evening after watching the others, only to spend the next week constantly thinking about it and going back the following weekend to watch it again. It was a very slow blowing of my mind. Memento. It was the first movie I saw that really played around with narrative structure aside from Pulp Fiction, I guess. And I never saw the big twist coming. In fact, I didn't even think you could put a twist in a movie that ran backwards. The Matrix. Saw it in the theater and walked out thinking, am I a battery? 12 Monkeys. There were twists, yes, but it was also put together in a way I hadn't seen experienced before. Memento. The Mist. Watched it only once in 2012 and every few months since. I'll suddenly remember that ending and feel strong emotions. What is your biggest first world problem right now? My job isn't busy enough, so I'm bored. White strips did not get my teeth as white as I had anticipated. I'm officially triggered. My cat Detective Waffles keeps affectionately headbutting me and now my glasses are perpetually crooked. I'm hungry for some snacks, preferably salty, but I don't know what kind. My place is messy because I don't have enough storage space for my stuff. Finished watching a series on Netflix, now I need to find another. The struggle is real. I am waiting to find out how many hundreds of thousands of dollars I'm getting in a lawsuit. It's taking too long. Phone is less than 20% charged. I don't own enough bookshelves. I can't go home from work because housekeeper is still cleaning. I'm parked in a grocery store parking lot a block from my house. What is widely considered a red flag but actually is not. Living with family. In this day and age it's just not feasible for everyone to have their own place. Girls with stuffed animals. It's not deep. It's just comfort and habit. Not that deep. Not responding to texts immediately. No Brenda, I'm not ghosting you, I am literally at work. The amount of women I know that take it as a red flag that a guy doesn't pay for all dates, buy them things. I'm proud of what I have done with my life and that I can go do those things myself. I like a guy that treats me as an equal. That is not a red flag at all to me. Poland's flag could be considered a red flag, but I think it counts as a red and white flag. No social media. Having an adult child at home with disabilities. While looking for dates with various apps, I believe in transparency, so after some chat I will mention my adult son lives with me due to some disabilities he has. Almost immediately I have had women ask, how do you date? Assuming that my son is in need of 7/24 care. When in fact he can do most things on his own. I have had women laugh. God bless the ones I have met who tell me they have a respect for a father who seeks to help his son. Curse the ones that have said, why don't you put him in a home? Not because he is a burden to me but because they think it's inconvenient. What was normal in 2002 but not 2022? Frosted Tips. Homophobia. Kids can be out in high school now. F-slur is now a bad word. Homophobia is no longer a winning strategy for the Republican Party to win national elections. Cursing George W. Bush and hearing how Dick Cheney was really running the country. This outfit had lopsided fedora. Face silvery blue eyeshadow, nude pink or beige lipstick, heavy eyeliner on the lower eyelids, pencil-thin eyebrows, spray tan that's 2 shades too dark for you, and a single dot nose piercing. Torso long-sleeve sweater, then a short-sleeve t-shirt, then a sleeveless vest, and a shimmery scarf that may or may not match the fedora. Arm silly string rubber bands, animal print snap bracelets, and a black fingerless glove on one hand, bottom leggings, knee-length shorts, and a plaid skirt. Feet Converse. What website did you frequently visit when you were younger? The one, the only. Neopets. Miniclip. Cracked before it went to absolute shit. Homestar Runner's influence on my sense of humor can still be felt today. Ibaum's World. Stumble upon Ibaum's World. Iconos cheeseburger texts from last night. Post secret of my life. And congregate. So many flash games. Friv, Y8 and Keezy, Pop Tropica, Club Penguin, DeviantArt, Habbo Hotel, Albino Black Sheep, LimeWire, Newgrounds, MySpace. Back in the early 2000s it was loaded with a bunch of fun flash games and video shorts. I remember playing a balloon drop game that I loved, and even though it would make me lose, I'd always drop the balloon on the old lady with the walker to watch her run up the building to beat the shit out of my character. There was also a bunch of animations making fun of Lars Ulrich and James Hetfield during the Napster lawsuit era. What were you taught in school which has now been proven as not true? The tongue has different taste receptors in each section. We have 5 senses. That you're supposed to eat 6 to 11 servings of bread, grain and rice per day. Blood is blue in the body and turns red when oxygen hits it. Was taught that Texas won the Battle of the Alamo in elementary. Got to middle school to learn that Texas did not in fact win that battle. You won't always have a calculator with you. By 1999 all the nation's landfills would be full, and we would have to use the Grand Canyon for all of our garbage. Your high school or college teachers won't give you slack like yeah, the work requires more, but honestly if you get in good graces with your teachers, like I did, you can pretty much get away with a lot. This one annoys the shit out of me, but I was taught that eyes are the same size throughout your entire life. Like babies are born with their eyes already fully developed and at the same size they'll be when they're adults. Had many people tell me that was wrong and I was so embarrassed because it used to be one of my only random cool facts that I knew. Fuck you 10th grade biology teacher whom I don't even fucking remember the name of cause you were so unimportant and shitty as a teacher. What's a belief that you hold with which many people disagree? Reminder to sort by controversial. ITT opinions many people quite clearly agree with. Sort to controversial. Reddit is not designed to handle a question like this. Not everything happens for a reason. Sometimes shit just happens and karma doesn't balance out. History is replete with examples of bad things befalling good people, and good fortune being lavished upon bad people. Chance occurrences affect our lives far more than we wish to admit. Not everyone needs or is suitable for marriage. Not every married couple has to become or is worthy of being parents. It's okay to be aware that you don't like the character or behavior of your parents. And that if they weren't your parents, you most likely wouldn't have contact. What's a fact you wish you didn't know? In most cases it only takes 3 generations to be completely forgotten. Locked-in syndrome is terrifying. You are alive and conscious but have no way to communicate that or stop it. Any fact, and there are many concerning botched executions. Hanging decapitations, electric explosions, failed beheadings, even a guy reacting to the gas chamber and repeated bashing his head against the metal wall. I just imagine stuff like that is horrific for all concerned. The story of a Sam Ballard whose friend dared him to eat a slug. He ate it. Death came quickly after the 420-day coma. Edit certain why I thought 8 years. Fix the coma length. I read this book called Fever about doctors treating Lassa fever victims in Africa. There was a pilot who would fly dead victims to a city morgue for autopsies. The bodies were on a gurney in the back of a small plane. Sometimes the change in air pressure would cause air to expel from the lungs over the vocal cords, which would create sounds like moaning. And more than once the air pressure caused the corpse's stomach muscles to contract and it sat up.